listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. If you'd like to text our show, you can do it by using the following numbers, 8, 12, 15. You can follow the show on Twitter at, that's the Cumberland sausage symbol, Frank on the Radio, or you can email the show via the Absolute Radio website.
Yeah.
Those are your options.
Do with that information what you will. Is that
Yeah,
what you're
exactly.
saying?
That is your mission, should you choose to accept it, as I think was once said. Can I begin by saying we've had the most difficult morning. We got in and someone had unscrewed Emily Dean's microphone bracket.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody puts baby in the corner.
No,
that was the wrong one. But
It was
nobody unscrews my mic.
It was
How?
forlorn. It was absolutely forlornone. Unfortunately, Lorne didn't turn up.
So we tried
Who could
to
that
prop
be?
it
It could
up.
only be Lorne Green, who played Ben Cartwright in the
That's the only
in
Lorne.
Bonanza. It's
Lorne
the only-
Michaels,
Oh, is it
Saturday Night
Lorne?
Live producer.
Lorne Michaels, that's right.
Shout.
I tried to prop the mic up with a red plastic stationery box, but it wasn't
Yeah.
working.
That sounds at the beginning of a fabulous... If you come into a poetry reading and someone says, I tried to prop the mic up with a red stationery box, but my eyes dwelt upon the mercy of the landscape.
I mean, whoever was in this studio last night, I hope you enjoyed yourself.
Whoever it was, they had a screwdriver.
They
Or
did.
two. Aye? It was a cocktails joke.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I had my mother-in-law, who is in her mid-70s, told me last week she's never had a cocktail in her life.
No.
Really?
Can you believe that? I didn't, frankly. I think
Didn't you?
she's had so many, she doesn't remember any of them.
Forgotten having any of
She
them.
likes
See.
the champagne.
Oh, man, she likes to drink. God bless her.
Well, in
No
fairness to
judgment
Sandy.
there. None.
What else have they got at that age?
She's a moderate drinker.
What am I going to do if I make it?
Christmases and bar mitzvahs she likes to drink.
Hot chocolates.
Vomitzvahs. They have special vomitzvahs where they drink as much as it's absolutely possible to drink.
Like in the Roman times.
They ought to have
They sound
vomitzvahs.
good.
They
Yeah,
had vomitoriums.
they did have vomitoriums, yeah, true.
Yeah. You went to a few of those in the 80s, Frank.
I sought them out. Oh, being sick was such a joy when I was a heavy drinker. It was great, just like pressing a fabulous release button.
The release, yeah.
Oh, wonderful. I never even thought about it. It's an event now. When you're a sober person, if you're sick, it's a really big event. Then,
Was it really regular?
every night. Every night. And
Fantastic.
thought nothing of it. I think no more than sneezing.
Yeah.
Those are the days.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
I like a bit of music.
You do, don't you?
Do you?
And that's why I work for a station where real music matters.
It does.
And I did a musical thing, which I haven't done since... I can't remember the last time. I watched MTV.
What?
I used to watch
Is
it.
it still going?
I used to settle down and watch MTV at it might be 2:00 in the afternoon, and I think I'll watch one more video. I'll do the next quarter of an hour. I'll do half an hour, and it used to be midnight, and I just watched MTV. I was so
Do
loved
they
it.
still show music? Isn't it all X on the Beach and Teen Mom now?
Well, the one there's a few MTV. The one I was watching was. It was pop videos, as
Oh,
one might
lovely.
expect, and it was.
What did you see?
Well, I tell you what, this is what I have to share. I saw the new Harry Styles has brought out a single,
Sign of the
He
Times?
has?
Sign of the Time. Have you seen the video?
No, I've just seen clips
Oh,
from it. Is it black and white?
I haven't. When's
Laughed?
the last time I laughed that much? I mean, I laughed. I didn't laugh myself into a painful situation, but I laughed myself to a point. You know when you laugh where there's a sort of chemical released in your head that takes you into a dreamlike state?
Yes.
I think it's lack of oxygen. I
Is
know.
it meant to be funny?
I got, no.
Oh, right.
I got.
It's not a comedy
I
video.
find things that are meant to be funny are never as funny as
That
that.
was
So
what I was
true.
after. That would have been fun.
No, it's really special. I mean, please.
So talk us through the narrative arc.
Okay,
of Sign
well,
of the
look,
Times.
it's what you'd expect. It's him sort of wandering around a cliff, being windswept with his, his hair.
Coat? Is he
I
wearing
think yes, he is wearing.
Okay.
I tell you what, he's wearing one of those sort of romantic poet frock coats, as I remember. But when you look back, you might be imposing things on H. Styles that that. No, of course, the whole thing's become iconic.
Is it black and white, Frank?
I don't think it is black and
Okay.
white. No. No, it's not black and white. It should be. I'm going to have to... The fez is in place, which is
Okay.
because the show started so late today. Not my fault that we've been hurried
Not our
along. I mean, I can't work like this. I just can't... it's comedy versus the clock. The clock always wins.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
Johnny V has been in touch
Oh,
Good.
via the Twitter. He says Alan autobiography. He hasn't put Alan's. It's just Alan autobiography.
Well,
Right.
I don't think... I mean, people are busy.
I know.
Yeah.
Should be called The Cocktails. COCH. I mean,
That's
there's a
good.
lot of pun potential there.
Yes.
Nice. And I was going to go with Alan's anecdotes, but the cocktails is better, doesn't it?
No, the cocktails is good.
It's 2 puns as
Write
well.
it down. It's my advice.
Okay. We've also had a correzione from Troy, who says...
I'm going to get a jingle that goes, correzioni, correzioni, ole, ole, ole. I am really.
He spelt it in the correzione. He's done it in the right way. He spelt correzione. And then he said, vomitorium was simply the exit from large buildings. This is in Roman times.
Oh,
Rooms in
because-
which to be sick weren't really a thing. I mean, possibly that is some sort of urban myth.
Well,
I always thought it was-
vomitorium, you can see why the word vomit, sort of expelling, could be an
expelling the
an
crowds
exit.
from the amphitheatre.
Yeah.
Frank.
Yeah.
And
You
I think
could have a
often,
point. You often do.
often, just before the door closed, the aperture went
Yeah.
just to get the last bits of the crowd
Yeah.
out. And sometimes the crowd actually came out through the windows when you get it really bad, through those 2 windows just above the main entrance.
Enjoy your breakfast, everyone.
Exactly.
Enjoy your
Yeah. And we're getting in some pictures. Last week we were talking about cuckoo spit on Absolute Radio. And we're getting in some lovely pictures of cuckoo spit.
Yeah, I got one yesterday from a friend of cuckoo
you?
spit on her lavender. I know, it's serious.
She's in touch again after all these years.
Exactly.
David has been in touch.
Nice that she kept it.
Wow. Cuckoo spit served on a bed of rosemary, he says.
Is that all right?
Yeah.
I think I'm
What
worried.
did you think
I'm
was
worried
wrong
there's
about
something
that?
untoward in there.
After what you just said.
I know, but
Blimey.
it's the use of rosemary and
I think it's
anyway.
Okay.
Let's not.
So
let's just
listen,
not.
can you, meanwhile...
So I'm watching MTV. I've looked up.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I've gone into the area.
Styles us on.
Yeah, so Harry Styles comes on and he sings Sign of the Times. Of course, I was fully anticipating. It's a sign of the times.
Yeah.
Wasn't that? And he's standing... They like to be windswept and they like to look troubled.
With his locks, they would.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, he's so lustrous and dense.
Lovely hair.
Yeah.
Lovely. And like I say, I'm remembering him in a sort of dress like Percy Bysshe Shelley. I think there was
Yes,
an
with
element
the sort
of
of slightly towy boots. They love those Victoriana boots, the Essex lad.
that. Yeah, I think buckled. Often
Oh, buckled, okay, yeah.
Excellent.
Anyway, suddenly up he goes.
But-
He flies.
oh, my
He
goodness.
doesn't.
And I'm not kidding.
Flies?
And I thought, oh, he's flown. And I laughed a bit. But I mean, he flew for, well, let's say more or less the duration then. He stayed up. Once he was up, he stayed up, Styles.
That is his reputation.
And it was very... Because...
So Was he flying over sort of hill and dale?
It was.
Like
Do
the
you
snowman?
remember Holding Out for a Hero?
I do.
Do you remember that David Copperfield featured in
Yes.
it, flying over the Grand Canyon? Now, what I've always thought, if I had the power of flight, Superman uses the extended fist when he flies.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the temptation, or both hands straight forward.
Yeah.
I've often thought I'd go hands behind the back,
Oh,
or
right.
sitting position.
Yeah.
Nice.
And if you remember, David Copperfield was sort of full lotus, sort of cross-legged. And he went sort of guru.
He was more sort of Aladdin's carpet.
Harry never really made his mind up.
He doesn't commit
But
to
he
either,
flew for a long time.
does
So
he?
what was his stance, his flying stance? How would you describe it? I mean, with the hands
I think he
outstretched?
bent one leg at one point. No, I think he was trying to not... they're very self-conscious, the young men. And I think he was trying to fly but not look like he was too into it.
Right.
Was he regional panto Peter Pan?
Oh, he fell somewhere between David Copperfield in Holding Out for a Hero and the saxophonist in baggy trousers. He was somewhere in there.
Chaz Smash?
Was that his name?
I believe so,
Good
yeah.
Chaz Smash.
Good reference.
If it isn't, it should have been his name.
It was, yeah.
It's because someone called Chaz Smash in Madness is as perfect as someone with a blue pinstripe jacket and black jeans and a trilby in Jules Holland's band.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? There's that kind of thing, places where people... But I do urge you to watch Sign of the Times. I laughed like there was no Tamara Beckwith.
Some people have suggested that it reminded them of a bit of David Bowie, the song.
Oh, I couldn't hear the song. I was laughing. What's the best flying you've ever seen on a pop video? 8, 12, 15.
Skinner, Dean, and Cochrane. Together, The Frank Skinner Show.
Absolute Radio.
We might already need the Correzione jingle.
Yeah.
You were gonna make one.
Correzione, correzione, ole, ole, ole.
We've had a few people text, but particularly Stephen Bickley has texted, "Sorry, Emily, Madness sax player was and still is Lee Thompson. Nice try."
Well, yes, but...
I think it was good knowledge.
265, whose response I prefer, if I'm going to be completely frank here.
Okay.
Correction, it's Lee Thompson who plays the sax on baggy trousers, not Chaz Smash. But he does then go on to explain Chaz Smash's significance.
Okay.
Chaz Smash stands around looking gorgeous in a Crombie coat. That's Vicky from Perth.
Not the first man to do that in a Madness video.
Do they do anything else?
So
Do you think
Lee...
they just have a pile of Crombie coats just off camera? Just loads of
Yeah.
them in case anybody walks past.
You know how Ant and Dec had to have to stand in their formation, in their correct order?
Yeah.
Did Madness constantly have to stand in that sort of ascent of man pose?
Well, when they went out, did they actually do that? Did they ever do that walk in the street, the step in a crosswalk?
Oh, yes. What was
I
it
hope
called?
they
The walk? That had a name.
Was it the Madness Walk?
No. Doing the Madness walk.
Oh,
One of our listeners will
they
know.
were simpler times.
We've also had a text from 358 saying, Frank, it was Lee Kicks Thompson in Madness.
Kicks.
I would have bet a penny to a pound that his nickname would have been Lee Tomo Thompson.
No, Kicks is better though, isn't it?
Isn't it?
Is that because he lived for kicks?
Yeah.
You think?
Maybe.
Well,
Or
if,
was
if
he a
kicks are a cigarette and a pint in a Kentish town pub, yes.
Or maybe he was a tiller girl at one point in his life.
Possibly.
Google it.
We've also had a number of people respond with their favourite flying in a video.
Oh.
They've taken you at your word.
Okay, well, I meant it.
Christopher Walken in Fatboy Slim.
That's a good
Does
video.
he fly in that?
Alan in
Yeah.
Kent has suggested.
I'd forgotten. I remember his fabulous dancing. I
He
didn't
does
remember him
everything.
flying.
And caller 123 has texted, didn't Morton What's-His-Face fly
Morton
in one
Harkett?
of... Morton Harkett, indeed, fly in one of Aha's videos in an animated fashion.
Oh, Take On Me. Remember the cartoon one? Lovely.
Yeah, it was Harry Styles animated, or was there a visible jetpack
He's
or anything
never
of
that
kind of-
animated.
I've heard he is.
No, I think what he did, they've said, we can fly you, but here's the budget for it. And he's gone, how much? Well, if it's going to cost that much, I want to fly for the whole video.
Right.
Now, that's going to look a bit weird. Look, if it's going to be upset, all right, Harry, don't upset Harry, I've told you before.
There is a story that the Beatles' Help video is them skiing because they were deciding what the video should be, and they all went, well, we've never been skiing. Let's go skiing. So they just got.
If you're the Beatles, you can do what you damn well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Absolutely. They're very, very good, the Beatles, looking back.
Hashtag late review.
Yeah.
Didn't someone on the show once say they were underrated?
Not me.
No, they did.
What, the
Someone,
Beatles?
Yeah,
People
someone once
often
said
say
they
that,
were
don't they?
underrated, yeah.
Fools,
Yeah.
I think.
I think one can say many things about them. Still, the best one is the Letters of the Times that says people should remember how much they've done for the British cordroy industry.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
Go on, you took a breath. Were you going to speak?
Well, I was just going to say 598 has been in touch with what he calls correzione duali.
Correzione duale, correzione duale. Okay.
The walk, i.e. the madness walk, is the nutty train.
Is it really?
And Lee's nickname is Kix, K-I-X.
Oh.
That's odd, because the naughty train is what I call my excrement. What a coincidence.
Blimey.
What a coincidence.
This show's changed.
I mean, I think we can safely say none of us saw that train coming.
Oh, Emily.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I somewhat indulged myself this week.
Oh.
I tell you what I did.
Great to hear what that tale's going to entail.
Well, there's something that when I was a child, I hankered for.
Oh, yeah.
And to be honest, we didn't have the money.
Oh.
I need some sort of sad. We got any
Yeah,
sad
can we do
music?
some
Some sad
do-do-do-do?
That's what we've got on this. Here we go. And we didn't.
Any
we
chance to hear this, you'll play it.
we didn't really have the money, so I never got one. And now I've got older and I've got a few bob in my pocket. I thought I'll go back. So the thing I wanted was a Hopalong Cassidy wristwatch.
Oh, yeah.
Lovely.
Do you know? Are you familiar with the work of Hopalong
I
Cassidy?
don't recall him.
I've heard of it, yes.
Yeah, he was a cowboy hero.
Oh, yeah.
He was played by William Boyd, the American
okay.
actor.
70s, wasn't
But
he? or
very
60s?
no, he was much further
earlier.
back than that. Yeah.
Oh.
But anyway, for some reason, his watches they abided way past his golden age, really. So in the 60s, kids at our school, not many, maybe 3, had got the Hopalong Cassidy watch. And it just suddenly occurred to me the other day, hold on, there's probably one on eBay.
Yeah.
So I'm now the owner of a Hopalong Cassidy wristwatch after all these years. And you know what? It hasn't let me down.
And are you pleased with the purchase? Are you prepared to say the outlay? Did you reach deep?
Well,
into
it's
the
a
pocket?
bit-
Is it expensive?
145 quid.
Oh,
That's
But that's not too bad for a watch, is it?
more than I feared, less than I hoped.
not,
Yeah.
Think about
not
it.
for a man at your means. If a little bit of what you fancy.
Yeah, but how much would you
You've
pay
worked
for?
hard for it, haven't you? You've worked hard for it.
Turning some old on.
You've worked hard for it.
A little bit of what you fancy, dear. Mine's a baby sham.
You know, I don't want to be slipping away off this mortal coil thinking, I never did
Yeah.
get the Hopalong Cassidy watch.
I'm glad you bought
Absolutely.
the watch.
Yeah. One of the problems with it, of course, it's aimed at children. And I have a very slim wrist. I'm lucky in that respect. It's never been lucky in any other area of my life. But it means the watch fits.
Nice.
And
you
as
got
they
it
say,
on?
if the watch fits, wear it.
Have
That's
you got
what
it
they
on
reckon.
today, Frank?
But I have got it on. But
Oh.
but it does look slightly out of context on a grown-up man's wrist.
Especially now watches have got so much bigger and modern.
Oh, now
years.
you tell me I better get rid of the Hello Kitty one I was wearing. But I think for something you love, Frank,
Yeah.
Exactly.
145 notes.
145.
And it's got engraved on the back. They all had this, I should say. Good luck from Hoppy.
Oh, nice.
I mean, come on. Absolutely marvellous. And I'll tell you some more about him after the break.
Was it MIB?
Is that a sausage and a roll in a box
No,
for me?
I know this because of Jonathan Ross,
mint
who
in
is
box.
a collector, as you know.
Oh, no, it wasn't in box.
Mint in box, yeah.
In the box, it used to come, it was stretched over a small saddle.
Oh,
In
nice.
there, but I don't care about the box.
No.
Stick the box. That's what I say.
Is that what you sent to
Yeah.
the eBay seller?
Yeah, I don't want the box. I just give me the goods. Yeah, but it's very. I might do a picture for the.
Oh, I think you
what's
should
it
do it
called?
for the social
What do they call it?
medias.
Social media.
Yeah.
Yes, I might do one for that.
The Frank Skinner Show on Absolute Radio. Back Saturday morning from 8. Tune in live for the full Frank experience.
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with a little bit of apple in his teeth,
I
but not
just
too
wondered
bad.
if you're eating.
I'm with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane on this occasion. I'm happy to say. You can text us on 8 12 15. People have. We've got all sorts of correspondence
We have.
already occurring. You can follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, also a vibrant source of communication. Or email the show via the Absolute Radio website. You may think that sounds more stagnant, but no.
Now, Nugget has a controversial statement. He says, IMHO, you may be familiar with this, in my humble opinion,
I am who?
Hopalong Cassidy had the uncoolest cowboy hat on the silver screen. #late review.
He had quite a big hat,
Did he?
but there were a few of them. Tom Mix had a very big hat.
I don't think there can be such a thing as an uncool cowboy hat in IMHO, Nugget.
Well, there are some that, it's when they don't dip at the, you know how they sort of dip and then rise again is the top of a
Yes.
comp. Some of them just keep going and they look less cool, I think. Then they do move into the Marmalade Mines of Knotty Ash
Yes.
territory.
Yes.
Was it Marmalade Mines? Something like that.
Oh, someone will tell us in a correction,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
sure.
Oh, yes, I'll tell you. Love is like a violin. In what respect? Well, I haven't really thought it through.
Very good. We've also had a few people, sorry to break this to you, texting saying that you've overpaid for your wristwatch there, Frank. Frank, I hate to tell you, but you've overpaid. There is a watch complete with saddle packaging for £102 from Lewis.
Is it working?
He doesn't say, but
Mine works
You get
so
what you pay
far.
for, love.
So far, mine works. Don't
Yeah.
it's not me.
urinate on
Hey.
my pageant.
Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just telling you from Lewis that
Stop.
he thinks you've overpaid.
Starting
Okay.
sentences with don't, both of you.
Okay.
Don't
So
do
yes.
it.
Well, thanks for keeping me posted. I might, who knows? I might buy another one.
Yeah, get a few.
One. I've got 2 wrists.
Well, if you buy 4, it'll even out, and they'll be down to about
Look,
80
you
quid
pay
each.
what
maybe.
you think it's worth
Yeah.
in life.
Yes.
Hang
Thank
on.
you.
That's
No, I
you
don't
can't
think
do
that's
that in John
true.
Lewis for a computer.
Life. Ooh, life. Ooh, you can't tell, but I'm actually flying at the moment.
Well, we can see it, but you know.
Yeah, hold on. I'll
Imagine
just
if you
zip it up.
release...
That's what people used to say. You're flying, mate. Which meant your fly hole was open. They don't even say fly hole anymore, do they?
Don't think so.
No.
Flies. Yeah,
I mean,
what is
fly
that?
hole was always a strange
Oh, can we
term.
not talk about this?
Sounded like it attracted
Stop
flies.
it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anyway, they also had on that, while I was on there getting my, as it turns out, vastly overpriced watch.
You're good for it.
Yeah.
You know what? I'll tell you what I did. I finished the live show, the live ITV show this week, and what I've started doing, now that one gets less and less end gifts
Oh, yeah.
on television, because at one time if you finish the series you get a lovely gift. I still get one on
What
Room
do you get
101.
now, then? Have you had one from Room 101?
No, we had there was nice flowers and a framed thing and stuff.
And you
But
got a turkey
what I
once.
do nowadays, I got a meat voucher.
Meat voucher, yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
What I do nowadays is I buy myself an end of thing present,
Oh,
which I
that's
think
nice.
is nice.
Yeah.
Because what's the chances of anyone thinking, I know what he'd like, a Hopalong Cassidy wristwatch? I mean,
Yeah.
they're going to have to know me pretty well.
Yeah. You don't get to know him that well.
No,
Sure.
they don't get to know me that well.
International man of mystery.
So So when I went on there, I saw they also had some. I wasn't aware these existed. I never saw these. Lockie Hopalong Cassidy coins. Because Hopalong Cassidy used to tell a story about he was out one day and I was found some of the finest cattle I ever saw. And suddenly I saw these two strangers. And you can guess it when he gets shot and he's got a coin in his pocket and it hits
spoiler alert.
it hits the coin and saves him.
Excellent.
So you can get Lucky coin. Now, I think he used to send them out free.
Oh.
But,
Absolute Radio doesn't endorse Lucky Coins, though.
No, not yet.
No.
But his Lucky Coins, I had a look at it. On it, it's got a four-leaf clover, a horseshoe, and a wishbone. I thought,
me.
all right, hop along. Belt and braces, mate. Take it easy.
How
That's a
much
lot
are
of
the
luck for
coins?
one pocket.
Oh, they're about £8.
Oh,
I don't want a coin.
yeah.
I say I don't want one. If anyone's got one, I don't want.
Well, I'd like a Bitcoin. They're worth a bit.
I don't really know what that is.
Worth a lot of money.
Is that what you buy?
They're out of my price range now.
Is that what you buy horse equipment with? Rubbish.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
Did I ever tell you Bob Monkhouse gave me a watch? Did I ever tell you that?
What a lovely story.
Yeah.
I love stories
I
like this.
genuinely love this story. There's nothing not to like about
He
it.
took me out for lunch, and that very morning, I'd sat. I was sitting at home, and I could hear. And I thought, what is that? And I went out and I went into the utility room, and it was my watch knocking at the window of the washing machine.
Oh,
It was in my pocket and I'd wash them. In the days where I wore jeans. So let's go back a bit.
I call those the Clarkson years.
So I told her I was having lunch, I think it was the Navy Club or something it was called, with Bob Moncas. I told him the story and he went, and he opened his attaché case that he had with him and he had a watch in it and he gave it me, like, newish. And it's very, it's lovely. I was quite moved to get a watch from such a
Very
great
nice,
man.
yeah.
So anyway, I had it valued. And it was worth £200, which was a lot of money in those days.
wow.
Can you remember who it was by, the watch?
I think it was Seco.
Oh, yes, okay, yeah.
I think that was the name of the bloke in the shop. And no, I'll tell you what happened with that in the shop is that the bloke... This sounds like I've made it up, but I promise this is true. I asked the bloke, he said, I can't have too big a look at it because I don't want to break the seal on it. I said, how do you mean? He said, well, the good thing about this watch is you can swim in it. And I said, that's amazing because I can't swim. I got nothing from him. Absolutely. Your response then was like a standing ovation compared to what I got from this
Right.
bloke.
Was it your first experience of stony ground?
It was, exactly, but not, as we know, my last.
More of which later.
We should maybe do because it's the last chance to do Stony Ground.
Well,
this
yeah.
week.
Okay, well, should we do stony ground? Have you got the jingle?
I've
Hey,
always
come on,
got the
get your
jingle.
jingle
Oh yeah, we won't be able
organised.
to use the jingle. Oh, there'll always be
I
scope
really
for
missed
Stony
that.
Ground. I can
they
do Stony
probably will.
Ground live on the hoof.
Yeah.
As
You
it
know what?
happens.
I feel confident there'll be
Actually, I
stony
don't think
ground
you
in life.
I don't think you can still say "as it happens," can you? I think that's gone as a phrase.
Some of them did fall on stony ground.
Yes, hopefully that one.
I think it didn't, that was the problem.
So
So
I.
I watched it this week, Frank.
Oh, thank you for your support.
Daisy, we always have a bit of a textathon while it's going on. And she comments on your clothes as well often. She goes, love the sports jacket, Em.
Oh, okay.
She loves your jacket. But I worry that she comments on the clothes because my mother always said that's the worst thing you can do. When she ran into an actress friend in the street once and the friend said, I saw you on the bill last night. Loved your hair. Bye.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
You don't. I did a pilot once for the BBC, a pilot show, and it was poor.
Yeah.
And Kath was in the audience, which is always a worry because she's not the best. She can't do the lying thing. And she said to me, they did a really good job of covering up that spot. that was the end of the praise.
Well, that wasn't the end of our praise, I should say. We discussed it at great length. I struggled to find much stony ground this week.
Well, I did. They stick in me like a thorn.
Yes, I know.
In the foot of the lion. What met Androcles.
Yes.
But I'm being again pushed because the show started late. Not my fault. I'm being pushed by the producer to move on. So we'll come back to this. But honestly, it's like walking through a bazaar in Istanbul. There is always a tugging at my sleeve.
Frank Skinner
On Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
Frank, we've had I'm going to call it, it's an unnecessary correzione.
I need another jingle.
Am I singing? All I want to do is I want to combine Italian and French and say correzione tres nécessaire.
Well, I think you should go for it.
It's a difficult song.
Yeah, I know.
I have to do a sort of a Tom Waits correzione tres nécessaire.
Does all the voices, doesn't he?
So the correzione tres nécessaire is from Martin, who says Ben Cartwright was played by Lorne Green, not, in caps, Lorne Michaels.
I said he was played by Lorne Green.
Yeah.
And I said
I don't know anyone else called Lorne, and you said Lorne Michaels.
Lorne Michaels, who produces SNL, Saturday Night Live. There you go.
Come on, be fair, guys.
Yeah.
You know, we do make mistakes, but
Not this time.
I don't want people to think that I don't know that Ben Cartwright was played by Lorne Green, and that Horse Cartwright was played by Dan Blocker, and that Little Joe Cartwright was played by Michael Landon.
Nice.
And that Pernell Roberts played Adam Cartwright in a toupee. OK, I don't know who played either Hop Sing, the faithful manservant, or Sheriff Roy Coffey, but nobody's perfect.
We'll find those out now.
But you do know.
But I had a house, a little house that my dad built for me at the top of my garden, made out of what we used to call palings, which is the wooden things from the fancies that the council put up, which my dad procured. And he made me a little log cabin out of them.
By salt in people's eyes.
And put a sign over the top called the Ponderosa, which was the name of the ranch in Bonanza.
Nice.
So don't come to me with my Lorne Michaels.
Do you think when Lorne Green retired, he did a lot of gardening? Is that a thing, maybe? You know,
well, I don't think he
nominative
ever
determinism.
expected to get this much airtime.
Can you think of another? Well, he got a lot of. He was a big star, Lorne Green.
Lorne
Darling,
Green.
I know, I'm not putting him down.
He was. I don't think you need to. He's already passed. Is there any other famous Lornes? Lorne Michaels, Lorne
Well,
Green.
I'm getting deja vu. We did this at the beginning of the show.
I know,
surely.
but
And then we got corrected on it.
And now I've been criticised. Well, we won't criticise.
It's all right. I
He's
like
fine.
the people joining in.
I do.
I don't like not in block capitals very much. But
No,
hey,
you know what? Martin's having a busy morning. He just, this is the problem with text, I think.
anyway, that's true. I think that my stony ground this week was there was a feature about what people steal from hotel rooms.
Oh, yeah.
And I said I always steal body lotion, but I
Right.
never, ever use body lotion. Ever. I don't know if it's actually stealing, because I think the little bottles are sort of yours. But I said I would only wear body lotion if I was going to do a runner at a restaurant. And I think because of our... I said, or cross a picket line.
Right.
Now, I think it's because we've talked a lot about Charles Bronson, the prisoner, covering himself in
butter. But
in
I
butter
instinctively
before.
gave that a little laugh
Me
there.
too.
Yeah, the audience, I think, didn't know what on earth I was talking about.
Oh.
Well, maybe possibly they weren't prepared to make the leap.
I mean, I think
Necessary.
it would work as well. Because at one point, my daughter, when having some experimental independent play in her bedroom, covered herself from head to foot in Vaseline, and extremely difficult to catch her.
I bet.
Really
Yeah.
difficult. But, I mean, it
That's
took
why
ages.
fish are so hard to catch.
Yeah.
You're listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
Can I say, I hate to plug my own work, But on BBC One on this Thursday at 9 o'clock is a documentary I made about Muhammad Ali,
Yes.
which I would urge you to watch, even though it's up against Coronation Street and Britain's Got Talent, which means that you'll be one of about 5 people.
Wow.
But it's very fine.
Make that 6, buddy.
It was quite a lovely trip.
I'm very excited to watch it.
Yeah, me too.
I went to the house of Larry Holmes,
Wow.
former heavyweight champion of
I
the world.
remember, yeah.
And then he took me out for dinner
Did he?
And was it a nice
with
meal?
his wife.
What cuisine?
It was, Americana.
Oh,
So
was
did he,
it?
did he
Lovely.
drive you?
He
Or did you meet him at the
no,
venue?
because he'd already driven me to see his statue.
Oh, yeah.
You want to see my statue? I said, yeah. Did I tell you he gave me his
I remember when Shaquille
boots?
O'Neal said that to me.
Gave you his boots?
Yeah, it was snowing, and I said I had to get some boots. He said, "What size is your teeth?" I says, "Well, I think 9s. 10 be okay?" And he said, "Come in." He took me in his bedroom, and there's like a big cupboard, and he said, "Try that." I said, "They're all right. They're a bit big." He said, "Oh, then I got some thick socks." He gave me like his socks out of his drawer.
Wow.
Worn.
Did you wear Larry Holmes' shoes?
I've still
And
got them.
socks.
I said,
Oh
"How am I
my
going to get them
God.
back to you?" He said, "Well, it's fine." Want to come see my statue? Yeah, okay. Let's do it.
Brilliant.
And
I
off
mean,
he
there's
went.
not many that can say that, Frank. Do you want to come and see my statue?
Celebrity socks as well. It's not a big market.
You've been checking on eBay.
No, I'll never part with those.
You got the watch value.
When we
straight
were
away.
eating, his wife said, Larry's supposed to have given up on meat and sort of fatty food.
Oh, has he? Okay.
And he looked at me and he says, "You know how it is, Frank. Man gotta have spam." And I said, "That's never occurred to me."
Not a phrase.
What a motto.
Oh, I look forward to him tremendously.
One of the highlights, I got so into the whole project, we would film all day
Yeah.
and then we'd go out and eat in the evenings. And I refused to go to a Vietnamese restaurant because we were making a Muhammad Ali documentary.
Right.
Respect. Respect.
That, I think, is method
Yeah.
presented at its very best.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
I'll tell you something that happened to me while I was doing the Muhammad Ali thing, and it's a. I think I can pick my way through it all right.
Okay.
Let's try. I met Ali only had one sibling,
Yeah.
Rahman Ali, who I met, and he's such an incredibly sweet guy. But not as well as he could be. He has short-term memory loss and stuff like that. But anyway, it was really, really exciting to meet him, and he was very, very sweet and affectionate.
And quite an honour to have met him.
Well, yeah, he was a boxer himself,
Oh.
and they were very close and all that. And he's married. He's been married 6 times, as he told me, coincidentally, 6 times. And his wife was is sort of, I suppose, a carer as well.
Right,
So
okay.
quite an impressive woman, and a preacher and all that. She has, and this is a delicate subject.
Okay.
She is a woman who's more interested in the spiritual of life than the physical. So she hasn't bothered too much about her facial hair. Let's put it. I think that's it. I've said it. She's
I think you said it very delicately.
but very impressive one. But it's noticeable.
It's visible facial
But obviously,
hair.
I didn't say anything. I was just happy she was there and he was there. I interviewed him, and it was in some ways a difficult interview because of his problems. But it was great to meet him, and I say he was very lovely. People always used to say he was like a bit of a card and a real laugh and all that. And it's just sad that a lot of that seems to have gone.
Yeah.
But people, when they have problems like that, they often have moments of quite surprising clarity in the midst of it. It didn't happen mid-interview on camera, unfortunately, but I was talking to him after, and we had some photos, and I was, he was giving me another hug and stuff. And he said, my wife, which he said to me, my wife would be nothing without my wife. She really looks after me. And I said, no, she's amazing. She's,
Oh.
And he said, he suddenly, like the clouds cleared a bit, and he said to me, she has a moustache. And I thought, I said, and I didn't know what to say. And he said, something different.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
Now, we haven't had any news regarding one of my favourites, Peter Andre. Are you familiar with his work?
Oh, yes.
Well, I don't know. Have you met him, Alan?
I haven't met him, no. What social
I've met
circles
him.
do you think
Have you
I'm
met him,
moving
Frank?
in?
I've
Frank's
met him
worked with
too.
them all, of course.
I'm
I've-
going to go one of the nicest men in showbiz.
I
Is
met
he?
him, and I have to say he's a very nice chap.
He
Yes.
does come across, he's got a nice vibe about him, hasn't he? He's kind
Well,
of positive and...
Well, never mind that.
Cheery.
He answered the door to me in a towel. Who could ask for more?
Did he?
Yes.
Did he really?
Yeah, he was in a dressing room, to be fair, at the time, and he had been in a shower. And he went, hi. And then he was very happy with, it was a show he was on, and he'd been given, you get the gifts, Frank.
Yeah.
Well, sore point, I know at the moment, but sometimes you get the
Yeah.
gifts. And he'd been given one of those Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo thingamajigs.
Wow, good gift.
And he said, I'm just opening this gift, I can't believe it. He went, 8 games. 8 games, mate. Downloaded on it. 8 games.
Brilliant.
Fantastic.
And then I heard Katie Price going, Pete! Oh, dear. It's all
Yeah,
right, I got
and
it.
he went 9 games and did a terrible lewd wink. And...
Oh. So
why were you knocking on Peter
I
Andre's?
can't go into the
Whoa.
details.
Okay,
I can, but it's not that interesting.
right,
I
okay.
was there.
That's the best reason for not going into anything.
Exactly. he's like the Taj Mahal. Got to see him in person to appreciate it. Is what I would say.
I've never seen the Taj Mahal.
I have.
Apparently
Marvellous.
you've got to see it in person to appreciate it.
Yeah.
Tremendous building.
Yeah, I thought you meant he was some sort of mausoleum.
He did past life regression on This Morning.
Oh
This
yeah,
week.
this is
Heard
a
about this.
thing. Past life regression is it's a thing that how can I put this? A certain postcode of celebrities have started doing. A certain and I don't want to be, but it's the sort of
Yes.
people you might see on a reality type.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but they've made it their own.
He's no stranger to reality television, though,
Well,
is he?
Is he a stranger to reality? That's what I want to know.
C'est
I'm
possible.
very familiar with them because I remember the first round of them maybe 10 years ago, and I saw H from Steps,
Oh yeah.
and he went under, as they say, and they said, and he got very distressed. And he says, oh, I laugh, I can't tell this. It was the most strange piece of television I've ever seen. He went, I'm a Cambodian farmer. And they
Really?
said, what's your name? What's your name? They're very gentle with him. 'cause
Yeah.
he's what's your name? Cecil.
Oh.
Is that
He said, my brother was eaten by a bear.
Oh.
Whoa.
What in Cambodia?
Yeah, it was.
Must have been a travelling circus.
There was a lot of confusion about the
Interesting that
narrative.
in those days he went for Cecil and not just C. He got more minimalist life. With each life,
Yeah.
he shed a bit more baggage, including letters.
Skinner, Dean, and Cochrane. Together, The Frank Skinner Show.
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. You can text the show on 8 12 15. Follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio. Email the show via the Absolute Radio website. Now, you are free to speak.
Back in the room.
Thank you.
Much like Peter Andre. Well, I was saying previous to Andre in the regression chair was H from Steps, who was Cecil, the Cambodian farmer.
Love it.
And then
Seen
I've also
the video now.
Well, I've shown you the video during the break.
Yeah,
He got very distressed.
it's very
during it.
moving.
Yeah.
I mean, amusing.
You enjoyed
I
it,
found
Frank?
it moved me towards amusement rather than...
Frank had
Emotion.
strong opinions on the regressor, I thought.
Yes.
Also, Paul Ross has done it.
Oh, yeah.
He did it, and he said, very memorably, they said, how old are you? He said, I be 15 summers long.
Wow.
He got very into character.
So he went to the West Country, didn't he?
They said, how many children do you have? And he said, I have 3 souls living.
Wow.
Well,
He got very into it.
But good to be able to do. You know, if one considers that the whole thing is a hoax, it's good
His
to
name
be
was-
able to.
His name was Gustav. I liked it.
Okay.
She said, "What's your name? What's your name?" He said, "Gustav.
Okay.
Killed a man."
Oh, they've always
dear.
had an exciting life, haven't
They
they?
have a very poor filter, the regressed. See, if I'd have realised I'd have killed a man, I'd have kept that under my hat.
Yeah, you'd probably have said something
Even
like-
though his hat almost certainly had a buckle on it.
He'd probably said something like, I've never killed a man, honest. I don't know why you'd even think that.
Yeah, exactly.
Imagine if Frank got regressed. I'd be a bit of a git.
Imagine if you got nicked. If you went
Yeah.
back and said,
Oh,
"Oh, sorry, I can't come back. I've been arrested."
You don't want that.
Got
so
killed a
happens
bloke in the 15th
Loads,
century.
loads of
Historical
detectives have had
crimes.
regression on the exact same day.
So, anyway, Peter Andre had it. Did you watch? Have you guys seen his regression?
Well, I've watched it. Yeah, it's.
Yeah.
I was hoping it went. Did I ever go back just a little bit? I mean, I wouldn't have minded if he'd have said,
98.
"Oh, I'm a pop star." If you know, they let the rewind button go a little bit too far, or you know, marriage to Katie Price, something
Yeah.
that was really. But now, of course, he went back to was it Renaissance?
Well, he
Spain?
said it's windy. It's warm and windy. I think I'm in Spain. I'm
Yeah.
at a court. And he said he was carrying a message. And she said, "What's the news?" And he said, "It's not good news."
There was a moment where I thought he was going to speak Spanish, and they went, "Oh, they're definitely speaking English." And I thought, "Phew."
He says,
Why are they
he says,
speaking
I'm in a
English?
Spanish court, but they're speaking English.
yeah.
He's thought that through.
I wonder if that means that he might not have great Spanish. That's that because it's always English. Isn't
Now,
it?
if he'd spoken Spanish and couldn't speak Spanish before, it'd be like
Whoa.
me being able to suddenly swim with Bob Monkhouse's watch. It would have been miraculous.
Well, this is what I was suspicious, is that in fairness to H, I mean, Cecil is not a Cambodian name, whereas Paul Ross is a very well-read man, and so everything that he said was quite spot on.
And what did Peter offer a name? I don't think he did.
No,
did
he just said
he
they
was
said,
just a
"What's
messenger
it
for the
like?"
royal court.
They said, "What's it like?" He said, "Smells of leather."
Yeah. Yes,
You
I
know-
think
you
that
know
was
that.
maybe another previous life he'd gone back to.
It's the
what they
royal
asked
court,
him,
innit? He's
one
a
of the
messenger.
things. This
That
was
was the
the
performance
quote.
at
Like,
GAY he'd gone back to.
when she said, "What message are you carrying?" he said, "It's not great news. It's some sort of army." Now, I don't know about you, but I want more from a messenger than that. I mean, if a messenger comes and says, "Not great news, some sort of army," bye. No, hold on. Hold on. Have you got anything else for me? But as I say, he's such a sweet guy. I think the
Yeah.
fact that he's currently about to start a ghost based show, I shouldn't think has got anything to do with him doing this at all.
Oh, was he doing a ghost show?
Is
Yeah,
he?
he's doing one of those going to haunted houses shows.
Oh, I thought he was doing a dancing and singing show.
You know the child bouncing the ball on the stairs, one of those.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Something-
Yeah.
Yeah.
is that how they get it?
It's always a child. That's all they do, the child ghosts. They bounce the ball on the stairs. The Victorian... If they go out, they've got Victorian outfits on. And
Oh,
they're
they've all
bouncing
got a
the ball.
Victorian outfit.
But
Well, that did make me wonder. Like
Did they have bouncy balls in the 19th century?
8, 12, 15.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let us know.
And do they bring their balls with them? 'Cause you know, I've often
Don't
talked
text
about
him
the
that.
ghost clothes. Why have they still got their 19th century outfits on?
Yeah.
Because where have they come back from?
Mm-hmm.
The ball. Imagine having to bring a ball from the past. And you don't want to go out and they're bouncing the official Premier League,
No.
the current one. That's going to
No.
spoil the whole.
Well, also, I often wonder, like, how much does the person who's been regressed's historical knowledge affect the regression? Like, if I got regressed and I was going, "Oh, I'm in Victorian England. Oh, hang on, I've just seen a window frame. It's Georgian England, actually."
Yeah.
Yes.
Turns out I know a little
What's
bit about
great if you
architecture.
don't know anything, but you're just
anything.
describing things that you wouldn't have normally.
I think it's vague. I was regressed once.
No.
Were you?
Well, a friend of mine was doing a show about sort of things of the unexplained. I'm sure I can name her. It's my friend Jane.
Yeah.
And she did a sort of about spooky, sceptical
I hope
things.
it was called Things of the Unexplained.
I think it was called Jane Goldman Investigates.
Oh, I
believe.
remember it.
that.
I remember it well.
And I think she tried to regress me for it. And I sort of, as I was doing it, I imagined myself as a bit sort of Little House on the Prairie.
Right.
But those were my references.
Yeah.
My references weren't any more specific than that.
So did you feel any sense of going back?
Well, I remember saying I thought I was in sort of Iowa or something. I thought it was like 19th century America, but I don't. No, I think it's like association of what you've seen or experienced during the day. So, for example, in Peter Andre's case, maybe went to buy a leather blouson jacket, ate some tapas.
That is not, of course, out of the question. That's a day. If that was in Day in the Life, that thing, and it was Peter Andre, you wouldn't think, oh, that must have been a weird old day you had there, Pete.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
Frank, 423 has been in touch.
Oh,
How?
yeah.
What are you talking about? What is this regression? Who, what, when? Loving your show as always, but feeling lost.
Yes, well, just perhaps we did jump into that bit. Regression. The idea is that we have reincarnations, that we had previous lives. Is the thing.
Yeah.
I once saw a very interesting lecture about this by Rex the Alsatian. No, I didn't. And it is possible, some people claim, that if you get people into an hypnotic trance, they can go back and visit their previous lives.
Yeah.
That is what Peter Andre went back to when he lived in the Renaissance, and he was a messenger to the
And a
Royal
Spanish
Court
court.
of Spain.
But he had an Australian accent.
Well, I think you retain. Well, maybe you don't retain your current answer.
Well, not in
'cause
Paul Ross's
Paul
case.
Ross
He said
went
IB's
back.
15 summers long.
Yeah, no, that's where it starts to get confusing.
/ exciting.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's regression for you.
Holly Willoughby said that she'd been visiting the pyramids and had a déjà vu experience.
Oh, yeah.
And then I think, I don't know if this was a serious suggestion, wondered if she might have been Prince Nefertiti,
Yeah.
which it seems to me that it was some sort of saucy joke going on.
Maybe.
Oh, I see.
They're
yeah.
like that. It's wall-to-wall filth this morning.
Yeah.
Is it?
Always has been. I don't know how they get away with it. I think she'd probably just been... She visited more than one pyramid, as one
Yeah.
tends to do. And when she went into the second pyramid, she had a sense of déjà vu, because she'd just been in a pyramid.
Yeah, yeah. They're
More-
like
more
waterfalls.
likely.
They're like waterfalls on
Maybe
your
she
holiday,
just
aren't
had
you? You've seen
a
one, you've seen them all.
Toblerone that morning out of the out the mini bar. I've never had déjà vu in my life.
Really?
But do you think, if you were in a past life, what decade do you think? Or have you
Well,
never
my
given it
only
much
evidence,
thought?
they say the way to try and work
What
it out,
century, I'm sorry.
if there's any sort of irrational thing that you've got in your life, something you really like doing or really don't like doing, that might be this is the theory.
Well, I think we know mine then, Frank. Got to be Tudor.
Oh, yeah, I thought you meant the chives thing. Trying to work out what that would be. Were you Anne of Cleves? I have a real... I don't know where it comes from. I love sitting with my back to a tree. You know, feeling the bark
We
against
know
my
where
back.
this is going.
Yeah.
That is my favourite thing. What do you think?
Wasn't that Isaac Newton?
Yeah, Apple's going to drop on the head.
Dropped on the head. You're an intelligent man.
I can't have been Isaac Newton, can I?
Well, he was a nasty bit of work.
Oh,
we said on this
exactly.
show.
He's a bit of a
No,
git.
actually, now you come to mention it, I think we worked out he was also a bit of a git.
I think he might have been a bit more sciencey than you,
He's
though.
on a sort of git line of history with them.
Frank Skinner from a long line of gits.
I used to be Isaac Newton.
I mean, that's not fact. I don't think you should report it as fact.
Well,
but we've got
it's interesting.
pretty good theory.
I was looking at myself in the mirror after showering yesterday, and I did start to think about gravity in a whole new way.
Frank
Skinner,
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
Big shock news has broken, and I used to be Sir Isaac Newton in a previous life.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And in fact, we've had a text that there's some other big shock news in terms of life regression.
Go on.
Morning all. There's a bit of praise. I'll just ignore that. However, I have just...
Thank you for it.
I've just,
Yeah.
yeah, thank you. I've just observed on Twitter that Emily Dean says she was a miniature poodle in a former life. Did this
Yeah.
not come up in her PST life regression from Jen?
That is my animal regression. That's a separate channel I do
Oh,
for
it
that.
sounds
Oh,
a
is
bit
it?
Native American.
Yeah,
that
so
animal
you can have your
regression.
animal
True.
regression and decide which dog you were, or an animal of your choice.
Uh-huh.
You know, I like to be a poodle, but you two might. Other dogs, other animals are available.
Crocodile. I'd be straight to crocodile. They don't move much, do they?
I think I'll just skip
about
the
Frank?
animal life if you don't
Not
mind.
bothered for
Okay.
it.
You
Not
just
bothered.
want that. You just you've got Isaac Newton, the
Yeah,
best
exactly.
of
You
the bunch.
don't
Yeah,
wanna-
I'm not. But you know, the other week I was telling you that when I eat an apple, I have to press the top of my head down
Weird.
to break the surface. Do you
It's
think
all
that's?
making
I
sense.
think that's reminding myself about gravity. It's Apple Association.
Meanwhile, I've been looking up some hot pics of Isaac Newton
Oh, yeah.
online, and I'm noticing some resemblances.
One of the less frequent Google searches, isn't it? Hot pics, Isaac Newton.
barely legal.
Yeah, Isaac Newton hot. But if I went on this morning and they said, right, where are you? And I said, actually I'm called Sir Isaac Newton. Or even if I just went Isaac Newton, I got him in his early
got him
days.
Pre-knighthood.
Knighthood.
Yeah.
That would be up in the ante, wouldn't it? Because they're
Yeah.
all pushing their luck a bit by
Yeah.
saying, you know, I'm a messenger and stuff.
Or
But if I
Cecil the
said,
Cambodian.
actually, I'm Sir Isaac Newton,
Yeah.
the regression person would go, I don't know if we can go this far long.
Come on, it would go
There's
down
a
well. It would be
ceiling on it.
Somebody, look, if it exists, if reincarnation exists, somebody used to be
Isaac Newton.
Isaac Newton.
Yeah.
There's a job going. It's all pointing towards me.
And when you were younger, in your Birmingham years, you had a long, shaggy hair with a slight curl in it.
And I had a lot of trouble with
Not
gravity
dissimilar.
in my drinking days. Certainly.
Gravity's
Yeah.
your former nemesis,
I
isn't
think
it?
I did have a strange fascination with calculus as well.
Well, there you go.
That was the next door neighbour's dog, though.
Oh, was it?
Okay.
Yeah.
And
That was Alan in a former life.
bit more Peter Andre news. Is
Wow,
that
this has been a week for him.
he's about to do an Australian tour, his first one for over 20 years. But he's
Is he still big in Australia?
I
Is that
don't-
what
Well, he's
we're-
Australian,
Yeah.
so that helps. And I think he sings They Love Mysterious Girl. I mean, he's probably sung that one a lot. It's Gloria Gaynor, I Will Survive, isn't it? I mean, he's got to trot that one out
Oh,
every
yeah,
time.
fair enough.
That's his song.
But he's going there, and he's announced that he's retired his famous six-pack, according to the tabloids.
Oh.
You know, I mean, that is a very famous six-pack, isn't
I
it?
would say Six-Pack was as much part of his stage act as A Mysterious Girl.
Well,
Yeah.
I love the fact that you can independently retire parts of your body.
Yeah, well, I have done that, but we can't discuss it on air. It was a joint decision with my partner. In fact, I had very little say in it looking back. But anyway, that's
Thank
the end
you,
of that.
everyone. I think we
signed,
can-
I've signed now.
I think we can safely describe that as something different.
But it is good. I hope he got a few brass robbings for posterity before he finally let it dissolve.
Well, he
You
says
did.
that it's not there anymore. I wonder. I wonder if it has gone. I'm not sure. I believe he keeps saying that he's in good shape.
How
for
old
44.
is he? Oh, 44.
44.
Who's
I
this?
think-
Isaac Newton? Oh,
no,
no, Peter Andre.
I have a theory that actually, now he's in his 40s, he's just wearing he's wearing more knitwear, and he's
Yeah.
retired the six-pack on account of the higher statistical likelihood of belly button fluff. I think it just daren't.
Oh, man.
He can't. Frank's right though. You can't let go of that. I mean, it's Bernie Winters sans schnorbits, really, isn't it?
It is. I mean, you could. Although he managed to go sans Mike Winters, who was his double act partner.
Oh, sorry.
You can move on. It is. I can't think of a man who's more associated with a six-pack than him. There must be someone.
The was it Wahlberg?
Oh,
What's his
yes.
name?
Well, was it the six-pack or other areas, I think?
Oh,
Anyway,
well,
sorry.
I don't like. We're getting
You're
too.
right. You're right.
You see, we've gone lower
Absolute-
abdomen. It was only going to go one way. I
You're
speak
right.
to you as Sir Isaac Newton.
The Frank Skinner Show. Listen live every Saturday morning from 8 on Absolute Radio.
I suppose I've retired my behind. I was 1998 Rear of the Year.
I beg to differ. Still in great shape.
I wouldn't get it out now, though.
You wouldn't.
No.
Wouldn't you?
I wish I'd taken some sort of death mask of it as a reminder, but it's gone now.
It's gone.
I've retired any attempt to be cool at all.
Have you? No,
Well,
surely not.
Hear me out. I think when I was younger, I mean, just in the sense of if someone asks me what I like, I answer honestly now, which I think for a long time I thought what will sound good. I
People do.
play musicals in my car, and I'm proud of that. I would have been ashamed of admitting that once.
If you
Good
read
for
a
you.
if you read a celebrity questionnaire, almost all of it is this is what I want you to think about me, instead of just
Yes.
saying what you actually like.
Cool music, cool films.
Yeah,
I used to do
Last
some
film I
stand-up
saw was
about-
Secret Life of Pets. Deal with it.
I used to do some stand-up about as you get older, you chase cool less and less, and you become happy with nice. Like
Oh,
when you look in
love
the
that,
mirror,
Al.
when you look in the mirror as you're leaving the house. When you're young, you want to look cool, and then you get to a point where you go, just as long as I look nice, I'm quite happy.
Also,
That's all right,
Al,
that'll do
cool
me.
people aren't funny. I mean, no offence, but no one's cool in this room.
Ouch,
And no,
ouchie.
I mean, come on. Some of the funniest times of my life I've had with these people.
With old Sir Isaac Newton over there.
exactly. So I think since the popularity of science has risen up, I think I've got a bit of extra kudos.
yeah. Actually,
I
now
actually
that,
wear a bit of extra kudos.
now that I mean, you've spent the last few months, I'm going to say it, boasting on air about your dramatic weight loss. Maybe as Peter Andre retires his six-pack, you should start, getting yours out.
Oh,
You could
yeah.
Maybe I should go back to the bomb. Maybe that could make a comeback.
back to the bum.
Has anyone ever? I mean, that would be the big. I think I'm the first. I think I'm the only practicing Catholic to win Rear of the Year. I wonder.
Hang on, I'll just fact check that.
But has any? I mean, that would certainly be the biggest gap. Bear with me. Between two victories
mind
in
the
Rear.
gap.
If I won it next year, that'd be the 20th anniversary of the first win for my behind.
If anyone
that
from
would be
Rear of the Year organisers is listening or
Yeah.
still with us, please do put Frank Skinner forward.
That would be to win it. They should have a veteran section like they do in the tennis.
That'd be
Sue
nice.
Pollard.
Yeah.
I'm sure she won it.
But to win it over a
she did.
20-year gap, that would be something. Like
Yeah.
if Melinda Messenger won it in 97, if she won it this year, maybe that's... Peter Andre was obviously looking at the list of Rear of the Year winners on the morning of his regression, saw Melinda Messenger, hence he became a messenger.
I'm
in
a
the
messenger.
Oh, it's fallen into place. Just like that apple.
Frank
Skinner.
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
I'll tell you a story that I found particularly cheering this week was Kate Middleton.
Middleton.
Middleton. I'll have another go at
Kate
it.
Middleton.
You know her, Kate
Yeah.
Middleton. She was at the Chelsea Flower Show, and
Of course she was.
DJ Chris Evans.
The royal
gave her a-
family are like bees around the Chelsea Flower
They
Show.
love
They
it.
cannot
They love
leave it alone.
I love it, Frank.
I mean, I do like its name though, Chelsea Flower Show. It's got a lot of information and very little else in there. Like, you don't catch yourself wondering what is it and where is it with the Chelsea Flower Show.
No.
It's the Ron seal.
I noticed
It's the Ron seal of naming
Jeremy
things, isn't it?
Vine and Mary Berry were there. I mean, it's all getting a bit themed on
Is
the
that, the
surname
new, is
front.
that, is that the
Very
new
radio
thing?
too.
Pawn invitations.
Yeah. And Kelly Brook, which is kind of garden.
I suppose if you had a
suppose.
very big garden, you might have a brook in it.
Yeah.
But Chris Evans gave Kate Middleton a tomato to taste. She dropped it on the floor and then ate it anyway, which I love. I mean, I do.
Yeah.
Do you remember we talked about Andy Murray's wife when she swore at that other player? And
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I found it made her like
You enjoyed
20%
it?
more attractive. I feel the same way about Kate Middleton eating a tomato off the floor now. Like, the fact that she obeys the 5-second rule, love it.
Do you like that?
Yeah, it's great. Like, it just makes her seem real.
Well,
more
you'll
human.
have gone off me then, because I don't.
You don't do that.
Well, I think
No.
a tomato you might know. I mean, a tomato, it's a bit cheaty. I mean, a tomato has got a wipe clean surface.
It's
Yeah,
very,
that's true.
very difficult for a
If-
germ to cling on there, isn't it?
If
'Cause it's
she
a smooth
dropped, let's say
surface.
she dropped an uncupped cupcake on the
Right.
floor and then eaten that, I
come on.
would have had mega respect. But a tomato,
Mega respect.
a tomato picks up almost nothing.
Agreed.
It's
Well, I
veg-
think
it's
you're
been-
right.
It's almost like it's been enamelled.
It's not porous in that condition,
No, it's
with its outer
No one
casing
could
still
call it
intact.
porous.
They reckon a mouse can't climb up flat glass, don't they? So
A mouse
it's the same. So they say.
But I imagine
I don't know
that's
about
correct.
mouse habits, really.
But germs probably can't cling to like a
No.
shiny spherical tomato, can they?
Well, with the 5-second rule, apparently it should only apply to things like that. Any wet food... Sorry.
Is that right?
Yes.
What?
There are rules about this.
There's rules about
Yes.
the 5-second rule?
Yes, other people have been there previously.
See, some people have said to me 10-second rule.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I like to give it a few minutes on the floor. I don't mind.
I've ate all sorts of stuff off the floor.
I
Who
scooped.
cares?
That was your table for many years.
I scooped gnocchi with my fingers off the floor back into a bowl earlier this week, and the bolognese was really hot, but I didn't. It was the last of the gnocchi, so I had to.
Gnocchi bolognese.
Yeah, don't eat that much pasta.
Gnocchi bolognese. Didn't she go out with Prince William?
I think I went to school with her.
I
yeah.
think so. It's a pity Pippa wasn't at the Chelsea Flower Show, because her husband, he should have been there, because apparently he manages a hedge fund.
Exactly.
Oh,
Yeah. He would
lovely,
have known what
Frank.
to do.
Yeah. So so she's down to earth, it turns out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Kate Middleton. Lovely.
just like the tomato was.
She looks like the sort of woman who that tomato will probably do her for the whole day. Cherry tomato, that's me full. Anyway, thank you very much for listening this morning. It's been a pleasure as ever. And you know what? Bring on the feathers.
You're listening to the Frank Skinner podcast from Absolute Radio. Want your Frank fix a little sooner? Listen live every Saturday from 8 a.m. on Absolute Radio. Across the UK on digital radio, mobile apps, and in London and the South East on 105.8 FM.
Absolute Radio.